What is up, space pirates? This is your captain, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and I know there have been rumors circulating for a long while now that the Acolyte is never actually going to happen. That the Acolyte was going to be like some kind of a tax scheme or something, and that Disney was simply going to write it off and it was never going to show up on Disney+. Well, those rumors are on life support at best, folks. And anyone selling you a different story at this point is, in fact, just selling you stories. We have a date set for the Acolyte's release, or at least a window for the Acolyte's release. So, the cringe-ass Disney Star Wars is about to get a whole lot cringier.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
On the one hand, I'm not ready for the crap fest that is the Acolyte. It is mentally exhausting keeping up with the crap that Disney puts out, but on the other hand, I'm looking forward to making fun of the Acolyte in this space, because we all know that it's going to be chock full of Leslie Headland's personal feminist politics. It's going to be an absolute disaster that they are going to blame on the fans.
He did it. What?
We're going to take a look at this announcement here for the Acolyte's release date, which has a couple of tidbits of information that are pretty illuminating about what sort of cringe we can expect from the show. But before we look at it, make sure to hit that like button on this video, and also don't forget to follow me on Twitter. My handle there is Dr. Disaster 1. But yeah, here's the announcement from the outlet Collider, which is one of the worst corporate ass-kissing outlets around. They will say anything in order to get exclusives like this from Disney. The headline for this piece of shit reads, Star Wars The Acolyte sets summer 2024 release window. High Republic fans, the wait just got that much more bearable. Yes, High Republic fans, both of you are going to be very excited about this announcement. Sorry folks, I'm just kidding. I've literally only met one person who's ever read a single one of those High Republic books, and they didn't like it very much. Nobody gives a shit about the High Republic. But anyway, the article actually says, ever since releasing its first trailer at Star Wars Celebration in London last year, the hype for Star Wars series The Acolyte has only grown, with fans eager for any update on the highly anticipated project. Now, Collider has learned that the live-action High Republic set series from creator Leslie Headland is set to release on Disney Plus this summer. Boy, you know that something is highly anticipated when the media outlet covering the story has to tell you constantly how hyped people are. But anyway, set 50 years before the events of The Phantom Menace, the Acolyte will follow a former Jedi Padawan and her one-time master as they fall into an investigation of sinister crimes in an ever-changing galaxy. The trailer that premiered at Star Wars Celebration only gave fans a hint at what they could expect when the series premieres, but even so, already impressed those lucky enough to see it when the bold visual take on an era that thus far has not appeared on screen. Yeah, and how awesome is it that Leslie Headland is the person who finally gets to tackle the time period before the original Star Wars films take place. And by awesome, I obviously mean not at all awesome, because based on numerous interviews that I've read from her, she has one personality trait, a single personality trait, and that trait is queer. Apparently, the only thing that matters in her life is who she is attracted to. That's because she is boring. We can be guaranteed that her perspective on life will heavily affect the show, making it unbearable to watch, unless you're watching it for the memes, unless you're watching it for the laughs. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, mind you. I don't give a rat's ass who you sleep with, but when that's all that someone can talk about, it gets pretty damn insufferable. Anyway, the series also boasts a massive and massively talented ensemble cast led by Amandla Stenberg. They will be joined by Squid Game star Lee Jung-jae as a Jedi Master and Junas Suotamo as a Wookiee Jedi named Kelnaka. Also in the Acolytes cast are Jodie Turner-Smith, Manny Jacinto, and Charlie Barnett, though in typical Star Wars fashion, details about their roles are heavily under wraps. Less under wraps, and perhaps most exciting to fans of the High Republic books, was the news that Rebecca Henderson, initially announced to be playing a Miralyn Jedi, would in fact be playing an older version of Vernestra Rwoh, one of the more prominent characters in Phase 1 and 3 of the books, and an all-around fan favorite. Serious question here, how can you call someone a fan favorite when there are practically no fans? Last I looked, the High Republic books were generally only selling about 30 or 40,000 copies. For Pete's sake, if I released a book, I'd probably be able to sell that amount after a few years. And I'm a small YouTuber. These guys are freaking Star Wars, bankrolled by Disney, and they can only sell 30 or 40,000 copies of their books. What a joke. But this next paragraph is what I really wanted to read to you guys, just to put an exclamation point on this shit Sunday. The inclusion of Vernestra is an exciting one, not just because of the connection to the books, but because of what such an inclusion might spell for fans of both the books and the character in her on-page and on-screen incarnations. Headland told Collider at Celebration that the series would not be kind to the Jedi, and would call the fallibility of the institution into question. With all the struggles Vernestra has already been through, and those she still has to face, there are probably few characters better suited to tackle the imperfections of the Jedi Order from the inside. Now, of course, they won't be kind to the Jedi. If there's anything that these woke malcontents like to do, it's gripe about things that are good. They like to amplify imperfections in institutions that people admire and that bring people together. As usual, the good guys will be cast in a negative light. The Jedi will be considered the bad guys, and the Sith will be seen in some kind of positive light. I'll admit that a good story could exist in that philosophical space. The emphasis, of course, is on the word could. But Disney will screw it up. Leslie Headland isn't a storyteller. She's a gopher who kept quiet about Harvey Weinstein for years, but pounced on Gina Carano when she perceived that she had the upper hand. As I've said before, the people who work in this industry are not brilliant, they aren't seminal minds, they're the ones who play office politics better than their peers because they're willing to sink to lower depths than anyone else. That is Leslie Headland in a nutshell. The Acolyte will be queer and political and cringe and hilarious. I can't wait. So yeah, it is kinda highly anticipated, I suppose.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.